Before we dive into today's show, I want you guys to name a random Cowboys player. Doesn't have to be a good one. Can be one of the Cowboys legends where they just played for a year or whatever. Sound off in the comments of today's show. Let's dive in then to today's Cowboys Report. A couple different players we'll discuss on the video, led by Donovan Wilson. He was mentioned as a cut option by a Blog and the Boys writer, Dan Rogers. This is what Dan posted on Twitter yesterday. It came across my timeline. Wanted to address it. There's some issues with it, frankly. Says the team can save $8.65 million by releasing Wilson after June 1st. Bell, Wanye Thomas, Izzy Mukuamu all signed extensions with the Cowboys in March. Dan questioning whether or not Donovan Wilson plays at all for the Cowboys in 2025. To be blunt, and don't shoot the messenger here, there's a few things wrong with this statement. Izzy's probably going to play more nickel / isn't guaranteed a roster spot. I do like Marquise Bell and Wanye Thomas quite a bit. So the $8.65 million for starters is wrong. It's not accurate. That is the cap hit that Donovan Wilson has for 2025. The Cowboys could cut him right now, today, May 27th, and save $5.35. They could cut him after June 1st and save $7 million. Those are the same numbers, by the way, the Cowboys would save if they were to trade away Donovan Wilson. Now, here's what matters the most. The Cowboys don't have to wait until June 1st to save that figure. They can and could have designated Donovan Wilson as a post-June 1st cut. They could have done that in March. They could have done that months ago. They did not go down that path. They did not designate him as a post-June 1st cut. They didn't add any real additional talent. They brought back Bell and Wanye Thomas, but it was an RFA and an ERFA. That was kind of a no-brainer. They did extend Bell beyond that, obviously. And the Cowboys added a couple UDFAs. There's nothing that's happened, since the deadline to cut players post-June 1st opened that would make me think, now they have a reason to cut Donovan Wilson beyond what they could have done previously. So I got a few more thoughts on this. But what is the % chance you think Donovan Wilson is on the Cowboys roster for 2025? Let me know in the comment section, the pinned comment actually, of today's show. That number should be pretty high. I would be very surprised right now if the Cowboys cut Donovan Wilson. I didn't even put him on the surprise cut candidates list because we talked about him before the offseason began as a potential cut candidate. The Cowboys didn't do anything with that. They've kept him. They haven't added anybody to replace him beyond guys that were already on the roster, and they don't have to wait until June 1st. That's why I think in general, there are some examples of it, but I think sometimes that June 1st stuff gets overblown of they'll do this after June 1. I'm but they could have done it now. So there's no actual change on that front. Sometimes you can only have two cuts. Sometimes teams do have to wait, but I don't think Wilson stands out as an option there. I would still like to find a way to play Marquise Bell and Wanye Thomas more. Don't get me wrong. I think that'd be a good thing. The Cowboys go 4 deep at safety with 3 undrafted free agents. If they had drafted somebody on day 2, they had signed a veteran player, we would have a different conversation on the safety room. But right now, I just think it's going to be Lick Hooker, Donovan Wilson, Marquise Bell, Wanye Thomas. Maybe an Elijah Clark carves a special teams role, but I think they're just going to run it back at safety this upcoming season. More conversation to come, including a lot on the offensive line. Might not be the most popular, but it's offensive line. Got to discuss it. You can get the newest offensive lineman starter, because technically Ajani Cornelius was afterwards. Tyler Booker, rookie jerseys, and other draft gear, rookie jerseys, draft hats, draft hoodies at chatsports.com/CowboysDraft. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. That's chatsports.com/CowboysDraft. Let's go to the offensive line here. And there's been a few different articles out there on Asim Richards versus really both Tyler Guyton and Terence Steele. So I wanted to discuss all 3 on today's show. The Cowboys website, cowboys.com, discussed, could Asim Richards pass Tyler Guyton as the starter along at the left tackle spot? Inside the Star, meanwhile, pitched, what about the Cowboys cut Terence Steele and Asim Richards emerges as the right tackle starter? I think there are issues with this, frankly. Stuff we'll get into, stuff that was in part identified here. Pick one to bench for me. AR for Asim Richards. You only start 2 at tackle, right? Who are you not starting? AR for Asim Richards, TG for Tyler Guyton, or TS for Terence Steele. Let's move to left tackle, or I should say start at left tackle, where Tyler Guyton is the clear favorite. He is the clear favorite to be the left tackle day one, and hopefully, week 18 and beyond for the Cowboys. With that said, make no mistake, the Dallas Cowboys need Tyler Guyton to play better than what he did last year. These numbers, simply put, are not good enough. It's not. He has to be better. This does not cut it. He has to show more and do more and be better. The penalties in particular are way too high. All of his issues are fixable. I think there was no doubt last year Guyton was a clear-cut disappointment. I question how much the last regime and the O-line coach liked him and trusted him, and I don't think they trusted him, which may have been a them issue more so than a Guyton issue. I thought he was kind of consistently put into pretty bad situations, and sometimes it almost feels like there's a segment of the fan base that actually wants him to be bad because they didn't like the draft pick and they want to be right about the pick. All that aside, he has to be better. You can't have that from Guyton. He is a developmental player. We knew that going in. He looked like a developmental player. You do need the developmental guy to show development, though, in year 2, or else the red flags get even bigger and brighter. So be honest with me. What is your confidence level in Tyler Guyton? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. It's probably going to be lower, but sound off in the comments of today's show. Let's move then to Asim Richards. And I think he should be viewed as the top backup option, but I do think starting right this second is probably a little bit of a stretch with where he currently is in his development. He played 181 snaps last season. If you look at the pressure rates allowed, it's a pretty similar figure to Guyton. It was just more snaps for Guyton. Obviously, fewer penalties for Asim Richards. It'd be a real red flag if there were more. Also, didn't grade out very well as a run blocker. I like him as your top backup at offensive tackle. And I was a bit disappointed last year. He never got a chance to play right tackle because if we're pitching him as this swing tackle option, and we're pitching him at, which I am, by the way, and we're going to pitch him further as he can be your new right tackle, he hasn't played it. This graphic right here on screen should raise concerns of okay, is he really going to be a right tackle option? He has played almost the entirety of his career in the NFL at the left tackle spot. He hasn't really shown anything beyond it. He's had a couple of snaps at left guard. He's had a couple of snaps at right guard. He's had a handful of snaps as an additional offensive lineman. In fact, you have to go back to 2020, his sophomore season at UNC, for the last time he actually played right tackle. And he's played 21 snaps in his college career at right tackle. There were 2,000 plus, 2,000, almost 500 at left tackle. Is he actually a Steele replacement? I actually don't know that he is. That's why we'll get to talk to Terrence Steele here. I think if he's a replacement for anybody, it's Tyler Guyton, which, by the way, I think would be a bad thing for Dallas, because that means Guyton has not taken a step forward. Now, we will have more Cowboys videos for you each and every single day. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/CowboysTV. Second video coming later this afternoon. Let's talk Terence Steele then, because Into the Star is right. If the Cowboys wanted to, they could cut Terence Steele. They could save $14 million after June 1st. That doesn't mean they're going to. And I know some of you guys might not like it, but the Cowboys are much higher on Terence Steele entering 2025 than I think the average fan is. The new coaching staff on the offensive line. Clayton Adams seems very excited about Terence Steele. Connor Riley coming in as the new offensive line coach. This hopefully schematic scheme changes we're going to get. All of that should benefit Terence Steele and make him look a little bit more like the 2022 version than the 2023 and even the 2024 guy. And if Terence Steele doesn't return to form, the elite run blocker and serviceable pass blocker, as opposed to goodish, okay run blocker and kind of bad pass blocker, then he's going to get cut next offseason. Like that's where we're at. I think this is very much a make or break campaign for Terence Steele. I need him to not get beat as badly as he tends to do against some of the better pass rushers. Otherwise, I don't know if it's going to work. I think he has to be better in that regard. Can he be? Absolutely. If it doesn't happen this year, start to question if it's ever going to. I do think he'll be more impactful as a run blocker, but he needs to be better as a pass protector. If it doesn't take a step forward this year, I think you're probably looking for a new right tackle in 2026. That could be Guyton. That could more likely be somebody not on the roster at all right now.